Hey, what's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Hope you guys are having a fantastic day. In today's video, we'll be jumping straight into the top 10 tips and tricks for beginners for Delta Force mobile players and how to improve in the game. In case you guys are not aware of what Delta Force Mobile is or what I'm talking about, it is a brand new FPS shooter game that just dropped on mobile in the Google Play Store and the App Store, and it's honestly tons of fun. I cannot get enough of it. Been playing it now for like the past week or two, and pretty addicting. So we're gonna go ahead and jump straight in here. Real quick, I want to give a shout out to Delta Force Mobile for being the sponsor of today's video. But here are the top 10 tips and tricks for Delta Force Mobile. We'll be splitting this video into two parts. Part one, we'll be dialing in all of your settings, your control layout, your sensitivity, so that way your gameplay can go ahead and feel smooth. And part two, we'll jump into real gameplay so you can have a real advantage in game. Go ahead and get started. Tip number one, customize your control layout. One of the biggest mistakes I have seen new players make when it comes to mobile games is using the default control layout that the game gives you. Don't do that. If you have any experience whatsoever with any other first-person shooter games, specifically on mobile, just bring that muscle memory here to Delta Force Mobile. So if necessary, take a screenshot of your control layout, your HUD layout on the other games. Do your best to copy it here on Delta Force Mobile. Adjust the buttons as necessary. Just make it feel natural for you. You want to focus on aiming and shooting, not on hunting down for that reload button. So tip number one. Tip number two, dial down your sensitivity. Now this one is a little bit trickier because not every mobile game has the exact same levels of sensitivity. So you do not just want to go ahead and copy the numbers that you see on your other first-person shooter games that you have on your mobile device and bring it over here to Delta Force Mobile. That is a big mistake. Do not do that. Instead, what I would do is adjust as you play. Just use what feels right for you, right? Some people like to crank it up all the way, have maximum sensitivity. They just like to have the screen moving around like crazy, while others like to be a little bit more precise with their aim and just maybe have it a little bit lower, dial it down. So perfectly okay. It's whatever feels right for you. There is no perfect sensitivity for every player out there, but if you are a player on a phone, I highly recommend that you use gyroscope. Gyroscope is a must. This is not something that you just want to pass on. Enable gyroscope. It's going to help you. Tip number three, prioritize FPS and graphics settings. Delta Force is a game that looks incredible on mobile, but if your phone is struggling, I suggest you dial down your graphics. You want to prioritize that FPS. The frame rate that you have on the game is going to help you win gunfights. Graphics are nice, of course. We want to have that on max, but the FPS is something you want to prioritize. So have that as high as you can and just see what feels good for your mobile device. Some people don't have a brand new flagship device of the year. Perfectly okay. You can still play Delta Force Mobile. Their optimization is incredible. So like I said, focus on FPS, and if you can, increase those graphics to make it look a bit nicer. Tip number four, dive deep into settings. Now, I completely understand. I get it. You just downloaded Delta Force Mobile on your phone and you just want to get straight into a match. You don't want to have to go through the settings. You don't want to check the graphics. You just want to get straight into a game and get into the action. Well, don't do that. How about you just take 10, 15 minutes, go through the settings. If there's two that you must have, I'll go ahead and tell you right now. Go to settings, basics, and go to combat. Aim assist, you're going to want to have that enabled if you're starting off with Delta Force Mobile. If you're a beginner, definitely highly recommend having aim assist. It helps and it's there, so why not use it? Next up is the second setting you must have when it comes to Delta Force Mobile, and it's actually on the same page as the first setting, right under aim assist, firing mode. Now, Delta Force has two different types of game modes right now on mobile, and that's warfare and operations. You're going to want to have the same control layout and the same settings for both. So when it comes to firing mode, quick ADS and fire, you want to have that disabled all. You do not want to have quick ADS and fire enabled. What this does is whenever you click on the fire button, your character will automatically ADS whatever it is that you're looking at. So sometimes you just want to hip fire because an enemy just, all of a sudden just pulls up on you right in front of you and you don't have time to ADS and shoot. But with the setting, it's going to do that every single time that you shoot, that you click the fire button. So if you want to hip fire, have this disabled so that we can go ahead and, you know, just run and gun. Sometimes you don't always want to have to ADS, especially if there's an enemy right in front of you. It takes a bit longer, so I can get you killed. Have this off. Now, the next tips throughout the video will be strictly for gameplay. So we have tip number 6, which is master movement and use cover. In Delta Force Mobile, standing still in the wide open is probably not a good idea. You're probably not going to survive for that long. So I highly recommend that you use cover whenever you can. And if possible, hold important choke points on the map. Delta Force Mobile has 2 different game modes, and that's going to go ahead and be Attack and Defend and King of the Hill. The gameplay that you're seeing right here on screen is from Attack and Defend, where there's 2 teams, attackers and defenders. The attackers have to push back the defenders throughout the entire map. There's different areas that they have to control, and if they get control of all the areas on the map, they win. The defenders have to withstand the fight and hold back the attackers from taking control of all the areas. If the defenders are able to do that, they win. So as a defender, it's very important to hold important choke points and use cover when necessary. You can go ahead and see here in the gameplay, I'm using this bus that's in the middle of the street, but I'm able to hold back the enemy squad from pushing across the street and taking control of the area on the map. So master movement and use cover. Tip number 7, use tactical equipment wisely. Tactical gear is not something you just want to go ahead and skip over when it comes to Delta Force Mobile. It is very, very useful, specifically smoke grenades if you have to go ahead and just, you know, flank the enemy, distract them, or if you need cover while pushing up, for example, in, you know, Attack and Defend as an attacker. Very important, so use your utility wisely. Don't just leave it there without it being used. It's very important, and it might even save your life. Tip number 8, stick with your teammates. This one is, I'm gonna tell you right now, one of the most important ones you want to do. Now, I get it. Everybody wants to just be the MVP and get the most kills and be the, you know, solo run and gun. But Delta Force Mobile is a team-based game, right? 24 versus 24. Do you understand what that means? You're trying to solo squad this. It's a 1v24. You cannot just go, you know, down and just wipe the entire enemy team. And in fact, there's actually a revive feature. So every single time that you know, die and lose all your health, you have the opportunity to get revived by one of your teammates. And even you can revive one of your teammates. This actually happened multiple times throughout me playing. And it's actually kind of nice because instead of having to respawn all the way back and, you know, having to run all the way towards the fight, if it's clear and you have a teammate next to you, they can go ahead and revive you, and you're back into the battle. You're back into fighting, and that can actually, you know, be a huge key moment into winning the game. So stick with your teammates, stick with your squad, and even then, you can be the one who's reviving, and that can actually help you guys win the game. And at the end of the day, you want to win the game. Tip number 9, learn each map. Every map has hot zones, sniper alleys, safe routes. If you learn them all, you can potentially control the flow of the game. It is important for you to understand where do you have the best advantage when it comes to taking a fight. And here's a good example on screen, right? We're playing Attack and Defend, and my team are the defenders. And so we have to hold this enemy team, right? 24 versus 24. It gets hectic sometimes, and you just, you know, there's enemies everywhere. But if you're able to hold specific locations and defend certain points on the map, that can potentially be a make it or break it for you, and that can bring home a W. So spend time learning choke points where there's a lot of fights going on, and learn those routes where you can go ahead and flank the enemies, because map knowledge turns a good player to a great one. And finally, tip number 10, customize your loadout for the mission. Do not just use the default weapon that is given to you and stick with that without customizing it. Now, of course, when you're beginning and your account is level 1, you don't have many weapons unlocked, you don't have really any attachments, you know, not many options to go with. But once you start ranking up and you start unlocking these weapons, figure out which one do you like most, you know, what fits the best for you and your play style that you have, and customize your weapon. Delta Force Mobile has so much customizability, it's mind-blowing. And so whatever it is that you like, however it is that you like to play, Delta Force Mobile probably has it for you. Highly recommend. Customize your weapons. It's gonna help you out when it comes to the fights. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, leave a like. If you're new, subscribe to the channel. And I want to give a shout out once again to Delta Force Mobile for being the sponsor of today's video. So as I mentioned earlier in the video, customize your control layout, dial down your sensitivity, change your settings to however you need, and in no time, you'll be top fragging. Hope you guys enjoyed. I'll catch you all on the next one. Peace.